Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking our time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Helps out a lot, so thank you in advance. Now today we're talking about an arcade game made by NEO GEO where you play soldiers of fortune of sorts, and you are, taking down bad guys. But it's not Metal Slug, okay? I know what you're thinking, and we will get to it. But this is Shock Troopers. Now I'm showing you the second one because, usually in video games, especially with arcade games, the sequels usually carry a little bit more, a little more abilities, characters and whatnot. But either one of the Shock Trooper games are fantastic. Now, the reason why I found this game and why I enjoy it so much is I was actually looking for something to play Neo Geo based after playing, many of the Metal Slug games, which are never a bad time, right? And so I'm like, okay, to me, the Neo Geo has a quality to quantity ratio that I feel like cannot be matched. Like, even if you look at other arcade boards of the time, and obviously when I say Neo Geo, I'm talking about everything that would have been, in an arcade machine or a Neo Geo cabinet. But I mean, like, if you look at the CPS boards, the Data East, the Techno, like all of those different people who were making these arcade games, I felt like Neo Geo had a standard of quality that I just don't think, like, percentage wise, they had the number of good games to the number of releases. Is like, I don't know, man, maybe a 2/3 success rate, at least in my opinion, as far as what they release. So when I see a Neo Geo game, it could be a soccer game, man, it could be a golf game, it can be, a shooting game, a fighting game. Like, there's so many underrated Neo Geo fighting games because, everybody knows about Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, but they were coming out with so many other hits. And maybe they were just the development kit. Let me try that one more time. Maybe they were just the development kit or the publisher, and maybe it's all these other companies who were making games for the Neo Geo. But because I don't know about those other companies in detail, I just say Neo Geo, and I feel like, maybe they just had the best platform. But for me, they always had games that would, one, be very polished and very well executed. But also, when we talk about arcade games, for me, it's always about how much could I get out of a quarter. Even if I'm playing on an emulator, and I got the coin button, I still kind of have this mindset with arcade games of what could I have gotten out of my quarter. And Shock Troopers is a great example of this, right? You play one of 4 characters. They all have, instead of, the Contra style of picking up different weapons. There are different weapons in this game, but the way this works is more so each character has a weapon type that they use. So you pick one that's based more on your play style, right? And you can power it up. That was the other thing that a lot of Neo Geo games had that, some of these other games missed out on the arcade, is some way to power yourself up. More like the shoot 'em up games that, usually you can get some sort of power up in those games. You power up your spaceship, shooting speed, firepower, things like that. But these games always had, that element to it. They also usually had the Metal Slug thing of getting into a vehicle. And again, these are not new concepts, but they were always very, very well executed and felt different enough to where they were familiar, but they all had their own unique, distinct feel and kind of visual and things like that. So I always enjoyed these games, and Shock Troopers is a great example of that. Look, we don't need to know all about the background of everything that's going on. Show me some bad guys, give me a gun, put my quarter in, give me the option of playing with somebody else, and let me just go at it. I'm just talking about mindless fun. And again, when we talk about arcade games, for me, how much fun are we having? How good is this game, and how much can I make this quarter stretch? Because if you grew up like me, we not just pumping out dollars upon dollars every time you go to the arcade. So you got to make these things stretch, and these games allow me to do so. So I really appreciate that. And they're just fun. And that's what we're here for, right? These are video games. These are made to be enjoyable. They don't need to be something that you need to spend hours upon hours trying to figure out the slightest of abilities and moves. Just shoot, jump, dodge, and power up, collect, and have at it. And get to a boss that looks cool and is kind of cheap. They all do the same thing. Once you get past like the first or second level, the game turns up the difficulty because they need you to put these quarters in. And I get it, but if I can pop a quarter in and jump through a stage or two, I think I got my money's worth. And Shock Troopers definitely does that job. Now, as you progress, you start to see that these enemies are definitely wilding, right? They shooting down innocent civilians, things like that. And there are, like I said, there are different weapons you can get. There's always a bomb skill that each person has. And, it's just one of those, I got, some time on my hands today. I want to run through something that's kind of not needing me to think too much, but more just shoot and react. And this is definitely one of those games. And I'm certain that there will be a few more of these on the list before we finish the series. So if you are a fan of these, as I call them, laundromat games, where you need to waste some time while you wait for the clothes to get out the dryer, then this is definitely one of those. And again, I like Neo Geo stuff, so got to do it. And I appreciate you letting me reminisce with you. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.